Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action and Krishna Consciousness, text 8 and 9. Neva kinchit karomiti yukto manye tat vavet pashyan shranvan sparshan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swasan pralapan visarjan granan unmishan nimishan api indriyan indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently, he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon 5 immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. So what Krishna is saying, what Prabhupada is trying to explain to us, that a person who's already in Krishna consciousness means his consciousness is no more on the body platform. He's situated on a liberated platform. His consciousness is pure. It is original Krishna consciousness. And so here in the material world, we have these 5 immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. But the pure devotee who's already Krishna conscious, he has nothing to do with these 5 things. This is because he's engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he's always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. So outside, he's doing all the activities, appears like, oh, what's the difference? Everyone is acting, so he's also acting. But the difference is his consciousness. His consciousness, he's acting of his original position, actual position. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. So this is the difference between material conscious and Krishna conscious. Material conscious, we are acting, we are doing whatever we need to do. Why? So that we can gratify our senses. We can gratify our senses. But a Krishna conscious person, he's also acting. Why is he acting? He wants to satisfy Krishna's senses. That's the difference. He does not, because he's already understood, he's already realized his position as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. He's already revived his original consciousness. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc. are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he's the eternal servitor of the Lord. So the activities of a Krishna conscious person are all for the service of Krishna. All hearing, sleeping, eating, everything, moving about, everything is for the service of the Lord. And why does he do that? Because he knows he's already situated on the platform of self-realization. He knows he is not the body. He's understood his position, that he's the eternal servitor of the Lord. And that is the original position of every living entity. Every living entity is originally Krishna conscious, always engaged in the service of the Lord. Now, because we are in the material world, this original service attitude has become perverted, and we have become servant of our senses, servant of this body, because we are thinking, I am this body. But in the normal situation, in our original situation, all the activities that a soul does is on the platform of loving service to Krishna, loving transcendental service. And the devotee experiences the highest pleasure, highest bliss. When there is no pleasure involved, somebody's not going to do it. No one is going to do things which don't make them happy. You know, we don't like to do things which don't make us happy. But devotional service gives the highest pleasure. And that's the reason the devotee wants to engage in it 24 hours, because he's experiencing this bliss. Yeah. This is a little longer. Any comments or questions on what we just read?
So this also meant.
Yeah. Haribo? Can't hear you.
So this means that the Krishna conscious person, the activities of Krishna conscious person are engaged in serving Krishna. So the material, it might appear the material activities, but that will not impact him. That doesn't has impact, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have impact on him. Here, we'll read the translation again. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects, and that he is aloof from them. He understands he's not the body. He knows he's not the body. This is the body that, okay, the eyes are blinking, but I'm not blinking. My eyes are blinking. What to do? That's just the movement of the body. And why he's not doing, he knows within himself, he actually does nothing at all. He is doing everything for Krishna, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating. So he's hearing about Krishna. He's seeing Krishna's deity form, seeing Krishna's devotees, touching, cleaning the temple, smelling the flowers offered to Krishna, eating Krishna prasad, moving about. He moves about to give Krishna consciousness to others. And sleeping and breathing, he knows he has to keep his body healthy so that he can do all the other things in the service of Krishna. And he's already understood, I am not this body. He's already understood his transcendental position.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And so how we can revive our consciousness? We are not on this platform.
By hearing and chanting.
Yeah, we just hear and chant.
And serving Krishna.
Chanting, remembering, worship the deity.
Yeah.
And the main is hearing and chanting. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening and joining in. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.